Let's pick things up there for tonight's Political Insider. Joining me, Robert Costa, reporter for The Washington Post. Robert, the first of many Republican presidential debates will take place next week in Cleveland. Donald Trump will be on the stage. It's been the summer of Trump as he's dominated the polls and headlines. Can we expect the same kind of brashness, do you think, in this upcoming debate?
Mr. Trump's advisors tell me that he's going to go into a period of relative quiet before the debate. He thinks this is his opportunity to build on his momentum this summer and really establish himself as a first-tier candidate.
Now, not only will this be the first time Trump faces his political rivals head-on, but it will also be the first time the public can now see how other candidates measure up. What do you think their strategy will be? Should they try to out-talk Trump or just deal with specifics and let Donald go wherever he wants?
I've spoken with nearly every Republican campaign, and they all have basically the same approach. One, they want to look for a moment for them to shine in front of the biggest national audience yet so far in this campaign. Two, they got to have a message. They got to communicate in this brief time period they have within the 2 hours some kind of policy or position that will strike a chord. And they have to have a Trump strategy because he's going to dominate with his personality, with his presence. And if you go at him, you have to expect that he's going to come right back at you.
You're right. Now, many think Donald Trump is a flash in the pan and won't last the length of the campaign. Could this debate help or hurt him?
I mean, we'll really have to see. Every campaign believes this could either begin the Trump fizzle or could really put Trump into the stratosphere with a lot of conservative activists. He's never confronted his rivals face to face. There's been a lot of pot shots thrown this summer, but to see them up close with each other, inches apart on that stage, will be a fascinating dynamic.
When you look back at history, we know that Trump is doing fine. He's getting the vibrancy of the electorate out there. You see Trump badmouths the politicians in Washington saying they can't get anything done. But I've got to be reminded that in looking at past campaigns, there's always a front runner, but they ultimately fizzle. I can't think of any early front runner that's lasted the whole length and breadth of the campaign.
You're certainly right, and if history is a precedent, usually the person who's leading the summer before doesn't end up being the nominee. Mitt Romney in 2011 at this time, he wasn't that far ahead in the polls. John McCain was struggling at this point ahead of in the 2008 cycle. But what makes this year different is that the field's so crowded. You have 16 declared candidates, and so you don't really need to be that much of a big frontrunner. You can have 10 to 15% of that pie and survive perhaps for a long time.
Isn't George Pataki still in? We don't hear a thing from him. I mean,
well, he's tried to go at Trump. He's a long shot of long shots, and he hasn't got much traction by attacking Trump. But he's going to be in that pre-debate on Fox News Channel before the actual 2-hour debate.
Some of these candidates belong on the side of the milk carton. Have you seen me? Because we haven't. All right, let's move on. Republican Congressman Mark Meadows has filed a motion to oust House Speaker John Boehner. Nobody's tried this in more than 100 years. What's Meadows trying to do, and how does this whole process work?
Meadows is one of a group of about 24 conservative congressmen, backbenchers, and they've been frustrated with Boehner for years. They tried to have a coup against him or after the 2014 elections. It didn't work, and so this is Meadows, along with some of his friends, just trying to stick it to Boehner a little bit. They pretty much know it won't succeed.
Now, questions about Boehner's leadership have come up before. Could Meadows be successful, do you think, in forcing Boehner? From what you're saying, you don't think it'll be a success?
No, because to pass something within the House GOP, you really have to have a bloc, a coalition across a conference of over 200 members. Meadows doesn't have this behind him. He hasn't even consulted with many conservatives within the conference, according to my sources. Most interesting, though, is does anyone else in the GOP leadership stand up and criticize Boehner? So far, there's no alternative. And if you want to oust Boehner, you better have an alternative in mind. No one's really emerged.
Is this kind of a Hail Mary pass by Meadows? Does he have nothing to lose? Because this could really hurt his political career.
Well, I don't think Meadows minds too much. Some of Boehner's allies call this a stunt to help Meadows raise money among conservative activists, and it's gotten Meadows a little bit of a high profile. But Meadows has already seen a punitive culture within the House GOP. Boehner's taken away a subcommittee chairmanship from him and then gave it back. And so there's some palace intrigue, but not too much.
So it's been like herding cats for John Boehner for the past couple of years.
I'm telling you, ever since the House Republicans took over the majority in 2011, it has been herding cats. It has been a circus.
So does Boehner have a future? I mean, is he going to do okay, do you think?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, you talk to Boehner's friends. They say if a Republican wins the White House in 2016, he stays. He's in his mid-60s. He wants to help out a GOP president. But if Secretary Clinton wins, maybe Boehner retires. I don't think he's dying to keep this job forever.
It'll be fun to watch throughout the summer. Robert Costa, reporter for The Washington Post. Good to get your insight. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.